It's late, later than you planned, probably. The day ran longer than it should have, and there's a version of you that is genuinely exhausted, the kind of tired that sits behind your eyes and makes everything feel slightly further away than usual. The reasonable thing, the easy thing, would be to just get into bed, skip it tonight. One night won't matter. You know this logically, and yet you find yourself standing at the sink anyway, reaching for the first step, moving through the sequence with a kind of quiet automaticity that doesn't require thought anymore. You're not doing this because you have to. You're doing it because something in you needs it. Something in you knows that this, exactly this, is how the day ends, how you come back to yourself before you let it go. Most people would call this discipline, skincare devotion, a good habit. But if you've ever felt the specific discomfort of going to bed without doing your routine, the low grade wrongness of it, the way the day feels somehow unfinished, then you already know it's something more than that. What you've built, without necessarily naming it as such, is a ritual of return, a nightly practice of coming back to your own body after a day spent largely inside other people's demands, other people's spaces, other people's versions of who you need to be. The routine is the moment the day stops being about any of that. It's the moment that belongs entirely to you, to the quiet, private, unhurried version of yourself that exists only when no one is watching and nothing is required. There's a reason it works the way it does. The repetition is the point, the sequence, cleanser, then this, then that, in this order, always creates a kind of psychological container. Your nervous system learns it, begins to recognize it as a signal that the performance is over, that you can stop holding everything together quite so hard. By the time you reach the last step, something has already started to loosen. Not because the products themselves have done anything dramatic, because the ritual has done what rituals are designed to do. It has moved you from one state to another, gently, reliably, every single time. This matters more on the hard days, on the days when something went wrong that you couldn't fix, when you were overlooked or overwhelmed or just quietly depleted in a way no one around you seemed to notice. On those days, the routine becomes something close to an act of self rescue. You are doing something for yourself, something small and concrete and entirely within your control. You are tending to your own face, your own skin, your own body, saying, in the most physical language available, that you are worth the effort, that you deserve care, even when the day didn't give you any, that you are not going to collapse into sleep without first acknowledging that you exist, that you have a self, and that it requires attention. Control is part of this, and it's worth naming honestly. Life regularly presents you with situations you can't manage, outcomes you can't determine, other people's behavior you have no power over whatsoever. But this shelf, this sequence, these products in this order is completely yours. You decide what goes on it, you decide what stays, you decide how much time you take, how many steps you follow, what the ritual looks like tonight. In a life that is frequently out of your hands, the routine is one of the few things that isn't. And that autonomy, however small it might look from the outside, produces a real and measurable sense of stability. There's also something about the texture of the attention itself. When you're moving through your routine, you're paying a particular kind of attention to your face. Not critical attention, not the kind that catalogs and judges, but something more like care. You're touching your skin with your own hands, noticing how it feels today versus yesterday, responding to it. This is, in a quiet way, an act of intimacy with yourself that most of the day simply doesn't allow for. You spend the daylight hours largely in your head or in relation to other people. The night routine is one of the rare moments when you are in your body, attending to it, present with it in a way that is neither performative nor purposeful. It just is. And that quality of presence, unhurried, gentle, self directed, is something a lot of women are deeply hungry for, without quite knowing how to ask for it any other way. Some nights the routine is faster. Some nights it expands into something more, a mask, a facial massage, a product you've been saving for when you had the time and the mood. Those expanded nights are their own thing, less about maintenance and more about indulgence. about choosing to give yourself more than the minimum, about deciding that tonight you deserve a little ceremony. And there's something quietly radical about that decision, about saying, at the end of a day that may have asked everything of you, that you still have something left to give yourself, that you are not just the last priority, that care doesn't stop when the caregiving does. And underneath all of it, the products, the steps, the consistency, the particular satisfaction of finishing and looking at your own face in the mirror before you turn the light off, underneath all of it is something you might not have words for, but recognize completely a sense of order restored, of something that was scattered throughout the day being quietly gathered back together. You came home to yourself tonight. You did what you always do. You ended the day on your own terms, in your own hands, in your own time. Tomorrow will ask things of you again. It will be loud in the ways that days are loud, demanding in the ways that days are demanding. You will move through it as you always do, capable and present and giving more than you probably should. But tonight, you took your time. You didn't skip it. You never do. And that is not a small thing about skincare. That is a small thing about how you survive.